Come and take a seat while I bring the heat. I'm your host with the most. My name is Dizzy, and I'm definitely gonna keep you busy.
Grand rising, grand afternoon, grand evening, wherever you are on this beautiful place we called Earth, the place of my birth. Well, listen, this is a sit down Sundays. In fact, this is the first one in 2022. So we're going to start it off with a bang. I've got a good friend of mine now who I call a brother, Mr. Milton Guarderas.
Milton Guarderas.
Milton Guarderas. So let me quickly give you an introduction on this gentleman, because it was 3 a.m. on a Dubai night, and a friend of mine, I call him Johnny, Milton knows him as JC, another random meeting from another random meeting to another random meeting. JC calls me and he says, Dizzy, come to this party. You got to come to this party. He's a German guy. So I turned up, but I was late. But I don't believe in lateness. I believe in perfect timing, divine intervention, all of that good stuff. I call it a 5D synchronization, 5-dimensional synchronicities, and you'll find more about that shortly. So he tells me you got to come to this club, and the club night had shut down. And he goes, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy called Milton. You got to meet Milton. And I was like, okay, if someone tells me I got to meet somebody, and it's 3 a.m. and he's excited, I need to meet him. So when I got there, this guy had a crowd. There were about 6 or 7 people, and they were hanging on every word he said. And I was thinking, okay, let me have a listen. Let me have a listen. And the little parts that I heard, I completely related. And I thought, this is my brother from another mother, 100%. And as the night progressed, it turns out I ended up giving him a lift. I said, look, where are you going to next? And the person whose place I was dropping him off to was somebody I'd met in the afternoon. So I was like, you going to Pedro's place? Oh my God, I just met that guy this afternoon and we got on like a house on fire. So the little I heard about Milton was something that relates to transformation. And I thought to myself, you know what, at some point, we're going to have to talk. We're going to have to talk about what the little bits that I heard were too poignant as little things. They weren't just little things. They were big signals, right? And before we introduce you to Milton, I want to play something, Milton, that yesterday was World Transformation Day. That was the thing that I thought, okay, this guy needs to be aware of what we're doing because he's doing the same thing, right? So this is a song that was created for World Transformation Day, and I always like to start the show with this song because it screams possibility. It screams everything that we all talk about. So without further ado, let me just play the song.
This is a message for everyone who is listening. Hearts and minds connecting, building a world community. This is the moment the people are coming together. Spirit of transformation, reunite in the meaning of we. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? World Transformation Day, let's make a difference. You for me and me for you. This is the moment never changes. The spirit is stirred and shaken. Now we are primed to awaken. New chapters for us to begin. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. We can dream bigger. We open our eyes 'cause we forgot that we could see. We can dream better. We sing it aloud to be the best that we can be. Can be. Can be. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. Transformation. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, transformation day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you.
So that's for all those dreamers out there. So I always start the show with that song because it brings it to perspective, right?
Yeah, it's a great song, great video.
So the statement there, Bitcoin changed my life. I know I want to know from the beginning because I caught snippets of your story that early hours. So tell us, who is Milton?
So, who am I? Oof. That can go way beyond, before, Bitcoin. But I'll start off, just giving you a little bit summary. So I did, I'm first generation American. My mother and father Ecuadorian and Colombian. So I'm first generation in the United States, and most of my life, half of my life, it was very, I was on my own. I did 4.5 years in prison. I was homeless for half of my adult life, and basically, I found myself, in a position where I had hit rock bottom again. This was in 2017, January 2017, end of 2016. And so I found myself homeless on the street in Atlanta, Georgia. And I didn't know anybody in Georgia, didn't have family, any type of support, friends, or anything like that. Reason I went to Georgia was because there was a job opportunity for me to do construction work. I was going to be a project manager of a construction company, but the thing is that the company was a dud, and I ended up, wasting my time moving from New York to Atlanta. Then I lost my identity, so I lost all my documentation except for my birth certificate and 10-year-old expired passport. So I was in a very tough position. I had some savings, but I ended up like spending because it was so expensive, without an identity ID or anything. I had to ask strangers to help me get a room. But they would say, oh, but I don't know you. What if you mess up the room? Then I'm liable, this, that, and third. So I ended up having to pay 3 times what the room was worth, every day. And so like I went through all my savings that I've had for the first time ever in my life, and I lost everything. I ended up having enough just to keep, have food in my belly. And so I decided to go to a homeless shelter. When I went to the homeless shelter, I couldn't even walk through the door because it smelled like straight urine, and I couldn't believe the state that that the homeless shelters were in Atlanta. And so I refused to sleep outside, refused to go to a homeless shelter. So I started asking myself questions. One of the question was, what is open 24/7 where I can just, stay and not get in trouble? And so I thought the airport. So I ended up going to Atlanta International Airport. And so I went over there and I stayed there for about 3 weeks. And I got a membership at a gym so I could take showers. And so there is where I hit rock bottom. I again, and so like I was, I believe, like 28 years old. I'm not sure. I'm 32 now. So so I was like 27, 20, 28, and like I decided, I still had a cell phone, didn't have any service, but I had Wi-Fi. And so what I did was I started recording myself. I recorded after 3 weeks of me just going around learning from all the people coming and going from the airport, learning their stories, collecting their perspectives, and just getting a better feel of, what are all these people coming from, going to, and so I started collecting people's perspectives and experiences. And then after 3 weeks of doing so and helping people, um, for free there, I ended up getting a phone call from a friend of mine who told me that their wife's best friend wanted to meet me in Buckhead, Atlanta. And Buckhead is like a lot of money over there. At the time it was, one of the richest places in Atlanta. So what I did was I didn't have anything to do, and so I went. I went over there and I met this woman and we hit it off. The next day she tells me that I can live with her, and I didn't have to worry about rent or food for like 6 months. So I ended up getting a job the next day. Now, this is 48 hours after I made a video in the Atlanta International Airport. And in this video, you just see me saying, don't ever be a victim to your circumstances. Let your circumstances become a victim to your victory, you know? So 48 hours after that, I ended up getting a place to live. And then the next day, I ended up getting a job as a waiter, server at Taverna Buckhead. It was an authentic Italian cuisine restaurant in the heart of Buckhead, right next to like Tom Ford, all the great upscale shopping and stuff. So it was bringing in a good crowd that tips well and everything. So I ended up getting the job the same day, and as I'm walking back home, I ended up seeing my first Bitcoin at ATM. I go inside a gas station, a Chevron gas station, and I'm like, how do I buy Bitcoin to pay you in Bitcoin to the cash register guy? The guy said, no, 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 buddy, like the ATM, the machine. So I go over there to the machine. I'm like, wow, I've never seen anything other than US dollar ATMs in the United States. This is something new, and it's a big touchscreen. And mind you, I did 4.5 years in prison, so I'm still catching up to all the technology of today, at the time. So I end up I take $20 from the woman, put it in the ATM. I got $17 worth of Bitcoin back. And then I go and I research that afternoon. I understood immediately the impact that this was going to have on the world and the technology and these use cases and what it could be applied for in one afternoon. The next day, I end up waking up, and then I see that my $17 was now worth 21. So what I said to myself, I said, wow, if I would have worked for 2 weeks really hard and invested $2,000, I would make $400 in my sleep. I said, oh, wow, I'm going to be rich.
Yeah.
So then I made a video that same day. As I'm walking to my first day at work, I say, in a selfie, I say, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am poor, and you're going to see me become rich. But really, you're going to see my struggle and what I go through to get to success. And what I specialize in it is cryptocurrencies right now. And those are the words that have echoed through my career till now. Because what happened after I made that video was I worked double shifts, 7 days a week for 11 months straight. And I invested 90% of my income into cryptocurrencies. And I learned every day more and more and more because I was obsessed, because I saw that this was my way out. This was my way of not having to hit those ceilings anymore. So then what I did was I recorded it. I recorded most of most of the whole journey, you know. And the thing is, I ended up being able to really excel at exponential rates, you know. By January of 2018, I was already in the 8 figures, you know. And to have come from nothing to having the whole world in my hand potentially, you know, I had to give up glory, you know, because the thing was that it wasn't just me. I was not capable of doing this. I was not capable of achieving this. Something happened to me. When I made that video when I was homeless and I said, you know, like, don't be a victim to your circumstances, let your circumstances be a victim to your victory. That was the moment when I basically gave up my life to God again. Every time that I was rock bottom in my life, because I've hit rock bottom so many times in my life, every time I got out of it. And the thing is, I asked myself, how did I get out of it before? What did I do that got me to excel so quickly? Because the thing about my life has been bipolar, you know. So it's like it's either I'm really low in life or I'm really high, you know. There's no in between within my life. So I thought to myself, what did I do? And all the other things that got me out of my rut, out of my situation, out of rock bottom was always giving up. See, I gave up all my decision making because the thing was that I realized that I am not the most qualified. I am not the most qualified person to make decisions in my life. I don't know everything. I'm not the smartest person in the world. Like, I'm not the most talented. I'm not, you know, so I realized what is. You know, I'm not gonna give up, you know, my decision making to another man, another woman, you know, another person, you know. So then I said I already had, you know, understanding in a relationship with God many times over. And so this time I said, wow, I guess I'm in this position right now because I strayed away from what I know. And I started going by my own understanding and my own beliefs. So then that's when I realized and I took action. A man much smarter than me explained to me in a very simple way what happened to me. What happened to me was that back in Roman times, there was a Colosseum. And in the Colosseum, the gladiators were expected to ride the chariots, which was hard, you know, and shoot the bow and arrow, which makes things a lot harder, right? So what happened to me was that God came down and said, I drive, you shoot. So that gave me an advantage to everyone that I knew because I didn't have to worry or focus on which direction I'm headed. I only have to worry about hitting my targets, you know? So all my attention goes to to achieving my goals. And I have faith, you know, that God is leading me to where I need to be. So this allowed so many doors to open. That's the reason why I got a place to live. That's the reason why I ended up getting the job that I did. That's the reason why I ended up finding Bitcoin because I was always in alignment. I was always listening. I was always obeying, you know, and I was always at the right place at the right time, you know? So that's basically what happened to me. That's just the beginning, like that's not even really the beginning because so much happened before Bitcoin in my life. It's just Bitcoin has allowed me to get the resources that I finally needed to be able to share myself and my experiences with the world.
Wonderful. I mean, I don't think there's been a more perfect time for the world to hear stories like this, because the world is in trouble right now. Over the last couple of years, I came across crypto at a point where I was stuck. I sold my barbershop, and I was, because I had such a following, I opened a small studio just to service these 50 or 60 guys that wanted to come and see me every week. And everything was ready. The shop was ready. And on the 24th of March, after we opened, the 25th of March, I got shut down. And I'd paid 6 months rent up front. I negotiated with the guy, and I'd put all the money I had into a business. So at that point, I was stuck at home, and I learned 3 new things. I learned how to be a dad, because my wife was working at home. I didn't have to work. Well, I couldn't work, should I say. Number 2, I learned how to grow vegetables, because there was a big queues in the supermarkets for toilet paper and food. And I had a nice garden. So I thought, let me buy some soil. Let me put some planters out there. And I started growing vegetables. And the third thing, a good friend of mine called me and he goes, listen, are you ready to make some money? And I was like, yeah, what have you got? And he said, I've got crypto. Now, I knew about crypto, but I didn't know how it worked. I saw and heard about people in 2017. Oh, this crypto, that crypto. And I'd never paid it much attention, but I saw a lot of people get really wealthy. So then when my friend said, listen, this is what I've got, I said, look, I'm sat at home. I'm willing to learn whatever it is I need to learn. And I watched a documentary about the beginning of Bitcoin, the beginning of blockchain, the whole industry, how it's got created. And I got it. I understood what this was. I understood what the potential was. And I had faith that this is what I'm going to do. This is my exit. This is my ticket to where I was going to get to. My wife always said to me for many years, are you going to cut hair forever? Because you stand for 12, 15 hours a day and your back hurts. And I've been in the game for probably 30 years on and off. And I always said to her, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. Yeah, I'm not going to cut hair forever. I'm going to do something. And when I saw crypto, I knew that the foundation of it, the intention behind it is to free people. And I mean, I'm only 2 years in. I can definitely say it's definitely changed my life. The circles I'm moving in, the people I'm meeting, the fact that we are talking, and what you do and your vision and what your plans are, it's not a coincidence that we met. It's not a coincidence. I mean, I call it a 5D coincidence, 5 dimensions, because I met you through Johnny, or I could have met you through Pedro, or I could have met you through Ahmed. There are so many avenues where I would have met you. It's inevitable. They're the, we talk about the 6 degrees of separation. I think I'm down to 1 degree now, based on what's happened in the last few weeks. So tell us, what do you see in the future? And for those people that are listening, crypto has changed both of our lives. And my life is transformed, which is why we're talking on the World Transformation Show. What do you see the future? How do you see the future?
The future is bright, my friend. The future is full of hope. It's just so beautiful. Like I have been traveling, I've been blessed to be able to travel and live my dream and just be able to just learn from so many people and so many cultures around the world. you know, from the taxi driver to the hotel staff to, you know, like to the people who own it. You know, like it's like I've been able to collect so many perspectives. And the thing is, like, I pride myself, and I'm so happy that I am a collector of perspectives because I take my time and I have the patience to understand others. And I feel like that's love, you know? And I feel like there's so much more, so many more beautiful, good people in this world than there are bad. You know, like that's something that just gives me so much hope because the thing is, you know, the world wants to separate us. The world wants to make us believe that we can't trust each other. The world wants to make us feel like humans are flawed, and they want to make us hate ourselves. They want to
Hmm.
make us hate each other. You know, like me growing up, I grew up in a world in New Jersey, in the United States, which is first world country, right? Where I grew up, you know, being born there looked at as an outsider, you know, by my own people, you know, like I grew up in a place where they educated me to hate myself, to hate people like me, to think that we weren't good enough. You know, I grew up in a place where, you know, people would look down on me and my family and my friends, and they would talk to us with such authority, and I always questioned why. Why is it that these people really have so much anger towards me? I never did anything to them. Like, why is it that I have to be scared of the police? Like, why do I have to be like afraid to just be me? Why is it that I have to be and conform to these ideas that, you know, are not even, you know, are not even a part of, you know, my culture and my household, the culture of my family, you know? Like there was so many questions that I've always had all my life growing up in the United States. And you know, I couldn't understand why it was always, you know, us versus them mentality, you know, in everything from the video games we play, from the TV shows growing up watching, from even the music. It always kept having the same storyline, us versus them, us versus them. Don't trust anyone. You can't trust anyone. Everyone's out to get you. You know, stay in line, you know, and having that message over and over, just being bombarded into my psychology all my life, you know, it really made me think that, you know, people were bad, that people were cynical, that, you know, that I wasn't good enough, that, you know, like there was always people that hate me, and I always thought, you know, these things. And as I started to travel, as I started to wander, as I started leaving, you know, the world that I grew up in, I started realizing that it's all bullshit. You know, it's all stuff that is made up, that is being, you know, inserted into our minds. See, what
Hmm.
I learned while I was in prison, right, 4.5 years, I ended up learning that, you know, like how to face your problems, you know, like in prison there's no running. You go to sleep with your problems, you wake up to your problems, you go to sleep with your enemies, you wake up to your enemies, you know. So there is no running away from your reality. There is no running away from who you are. It is, you have to be who you are. You can't pretend that you're eaten alive, you know, because people will see, oh no, that guy's lying. Oh, that person is putting up a show. This person is putting up a front or an image, you know,
Mm.
that's not them, you know. So they'll eat you alive in there, you know. So I learned, you know, how to accept who I am and all the ugly things about me and all the things that I've thought in my thought processes. You know, I was put into a situation where I was locked up in prison, you know, where, you know, they put me in ag seg, which is basically the hole, you know, and they put me in there for like months. And the thing was, I was stuck in there with just my thoughts. And so I meditated for months, you know, continuously learning myself, having the patience to understand myself. And that allowed me for the first time to ever love myself and understand what love is. To me, love is having the patience to understand. And if you have the patience to understand yourself and really, really understand and go a deep dive within yourself, and then that's love for yourself. And then once you're capable of doing that for yourself, loving yourself, understanding yourself, then you have the ability to love and understand others. Because what I see in this world is everyone's like, understand me, listen to me. But nobody is wanting to understand the next person, you know? And this is one of the biggest problems that I see in this world. When I got out of prison, when I walked through that gate with those fences, right? No one came to pick me up. I had to go on my own, and I had to get on the train and go to where my parents lived and everything, right? There was no welcome, Milton, you know? And I loved that because I ended up having to jump right back into society right away. And it was strange. I went from being around a very few amount of people around me to now being in a train full of people. Not just people, but men, women, children, all types of people that I didn't interact with in so long. And I was hypersensitive because in prison, you know, you have to survive. You have to know everything that's going on. You have to pay attention. It's a survival instinct, right? And a skill that got sharpened while I was in there. And so that didn't stop. I felt like I was like freaking Sherlock Holmes, just paying attention to every movement that's
Everybody
going
went past.
around me, you know? And so what I realized was something really sad to me. That was, I saw a bunch of people running. You know, I saw a lot of people running away from their problems. I saw a lot of people trying to numb themselves. I saw a lot of people trying to escape from their reality. I saw a bunch of people who refused to see what they were even doing. I saw, you know, like a world that I didn't see before. See, while I was locked up for 4.5 years, I was not being bombarded by marketing, propaganda, and advertisement, while everybody else was. 4.5 years of that continuously, every day, something is putting these ideas into your mind, you know, subconsciously. That didn't happen to me, you know? So what happened was that I saw that I had an advantage, you know, because the thing was that I was able to distinguish what an idea that was born inside my head, you know, and which one was introduced to me by foreignly, you know. So I was able to control, you know, my own monologue, my inner monologue. I was able to distinguish, you know, who I was and something else that was trying to get inside while other people couldn't. A lot of people in this world right now, they can't even tell me, they regurgitate information. That's all they do. They repeat something they heard somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, that's mostly what most people do in this world nowadays. I don't hear anything original. I don't hear something that someone came up with in their head. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, people are learning secondhand and they think that's the only way.
People are victim of it being implanted by the media, right? So you'll see something and you'll think it's a good idea and you'll tell your friend when in actual fact you didn't think of that. It was placed in your mind. I was gonna name a subject, but I won't because I want to stay online because I know people that have talking about certain things and then they've been restricted. So
Oh yeah.
so
You
rather
know, the
than
thing that we should not speak of, and the thing that we are not allowed to name.
yeah, but it's cool. The people that
Yeah.
know because once you're free, you'll understand. I was saying to a friend of mine the other day that you can tell where somebody's at based on what they talk about. And if you're talking about what's on the headlines and that's your dominant conversation, then you know you're being run by these organizations that are producing news for you to talk about.
100%.
that which
100%.
takes you away from yourself, right?
Yeah, and that's the illness, that psychological epidemic that's going on around the world, is that people are being disconnected from themselves. You
Mm.
know, like this is something that is happening everywhere. People don't have communication with themselves anymore. So that's disconnecting them from nature. So this is why we have such a crazy disconnect around the world right now. You
Mm.
know, like if you can't communicate with yourself, how can you love yourself? How can you understand yourself? You know? And if you don't love yourself and have understanding of yourself, or even, then how can you expect to give to someone else? You literally cannot give what you don't have. That's physically impossible, you know? So it's like a lot of people out here talk about fake love, fake, like it's all bullshit. And the thing is also, like, not everybody's dumb. Like when we're talking about, the thing that we are not supposed to mention and stuff, like that right there, it's like, whew, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. I was talking about,
The thing that we're not
uh,
supposed to talk about.
yeah, but right before then, oh yeah, there are people that are not dumb, right? They know what's going on, because not everybody's asleep. Not everybody is
Mm.
ignorant, right? Like people know what's going on. They just choose, they already chose a side to this war. We have not just been at war just for the past few years. This has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years,
Yes.
right? This is not something new. It's just that we're getting to a point where it's extremely important in history because it hasn't happened before. This is the first time ever that the whole world's connected
Yeah.
with the internet. First time ever that we all speak one language, where we can share information and understand
Mm.
each other. This is the first time ever where we're going more towards a one world government and one world currency. This is a unique time in history that has never happened before, except for the first time back in
Yeah.
ancient Babylon. you
Yeah.
know so like this time right now is super important, and everything is balanced. The evil has been here for a while, like doing what they're doing, putting pressure on the good people like yourself, me, and so many other beautiful souls around the world. And they have been taking the power away from us for a very long time. But the thing is, the pressure has brought us out of hiding. The
Yeah.
pressure has brought us back into being in the mainstream. It has actually empowered and strengthened our champions around
Mm.
the world. And we are all finding each other, and we're going to make a difference because we are
100%.
here to transform this world, to a better place. We have the real ones, like there are a bunch of fake people out there trying to change the world. But
Yeah.
that's just a tactic from the enemy to get us, like, one of the tactics is this that I've learned that they use. It's called discredit, our streams of information is one. Okay. Like, so the same thing that happens throughout all our streams of information. Do you believe everything is that you're told? Do you
Yeah.
believe everything that you read in books? Do you believe everything that you hear in the newspaper? Do you believe everything you read in magazines? Do you believe everything you see on TV? Do you believe everything that you see on the news? Do you believe everything that you see on the internet? Do you believe everything you hear in blogs? Do you believe everything you see on Facebook? Do you believe It's always the same phrase throughout all streams of information through history. They discredit every single stream of information that we've ever had for us to share information with each other. And the
Mm.
way that they do it is they flood our streams of information with half truths and bullshit. And so they're the ones that create all the misinformation, and so that they can discredit our lines of information. You know, they do the same thing. They do the same thing with religion. Okay, what they do is they take, let's say Islam, for instance. They take Islam, right, and the core people, and they're like, oh no, we can't have these people spreading this great stuff, right? Or Christians or Buddhists, whatever. We can't have them empowering people with this knowledge. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start another group, a religious group, far away from this group, and we're going to call it Islam, or we're going to call it Christianity too. And then we're going to do a bunch of stuff to discredit this religion. And so that whenever anybody hears of these people, they automatically are like, oh no, you are evil. Oh no, you've done crazy stuff. Oh yeah, we heard you guys are pedophiles. Oh, we heard that you guys are bombing freaking terrorists. Oh, we know. Because that's the technique, to separate us, to keep all information discredited so you don't believe anyone or anything. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know what is happening in this world. We are at war.
Yeah, you're right. So look, if anybody who's watching this right now, cryptocurrency is a way forward, right?
100%. Yo, cryptocurrencies is one of the biggest opportunities that the people, you know, in power don't want you to take advantage of, you know, because the thing is, right, I've tried all my life, you know, to achieve success in the system, you know, going by the rules and breaking the rules, right? And I tried both sides of that coin, you know, to get ahead, and I failed. And the thing is that the system is what is there to make you fail. So what I did was, cryptocurrencies is outside of that system. And because it's outside of that system, it allowed for me to excel. And the more people understand this, the more people will take advantage of this situation that is cryptocurrencies. If everyone stopped everything they're doing right now and helped build the ecosystem of cryptocurrencies, right, they would never have to worry about anything in the future again. Like, this is the time to be pioneers of the new world. This is a new digital world with trillions of dollars up for grabs. There's not another way that a person can start off, you know, homeless, freaking in debt, a $20,000 debt. A person who did 4.5 years with 9 felonies on his jacket, you know, freaking homeless all most of their life, first generation America, brown skinned, like, you know, like all these things that is like, I didn't graduate high school, I didn't go to university. How is it that a person like myself, which is like the bottom of the barrel of society, right? How is it that I was able to excel the way that I have? It's because of cryptocurrencies. It's because of blockchain. It's because I got out of the system. And the thing is that I'm helping build this ecosystem. And that has allowed so much more opportunities that I never imagined would ever be happen, you know? Like, this is the time for everyone to invest in education, invest in educating yourself about blockchain, Bitcoin, and don't go by what other people say. Don't believe anything that I say. Go and research and find out yourself, because if it's the truth, you can find it just as easy as I did, you know?
That's amazing. So those people, excuse me, that think that it's too late to get into crypto.
It's too late. No. We're extremely early. This is coming from a guy that's been talking about it since Bitcoin was at $1,000. You know, I'm telling you, I'll scream on top of every mountain right now, screaming how early it still is. Like, it's a blessing that we are here and living in these times. This is the best time to be alive, because we get to be a part of building a new world. We didn't have that opportunity before.
Yeah.
Like, the world, the future is going to be based on what we want.
Wow. So this has been an absolutely amazing conversation, Milton. I knew when I met you that early hours of that morning, I knew there was something there, something special. I wasn't sure if it was going to be this, but I think we must have moved, touched, inspired some people, or taken people off their usual brainwashed self and say, listen, I think I need to have a look at who I am, what I'm about, and start coming up with some original thoughts, right? No improvisations.
Because there's nobody like you. There have never been anyone who's experienced existence the way that you have, and there never will. You are unique. Every single one of us are unique. You know, we have so much to give to this world. We just need to have the courage to be you. You know, we gotta just be ourselves.
Wonderful. So
I appreciate you.
any parting thoughts? Any advice to anybody watching? It doesn't, like you said, you've just explained, it doesn't matter how bad your situation is, right?
Exactly. It doesn't matter where you are, you know, in your life. It doesn't matter what point you are here today, you know, because every day is a new day. Every day you have the opportunity to really just change your whole environment, change your whole world, change your mindset, you know, chase after what you really want, you know, the thing that's calling you. And just a quick tip, you know, don't waste your time because your time is precious. Like what I've learned to become successful, you need three things, okay? You need to have the right why for what you're doing. You have to have the right fuel in your vehicle to get to where you need to be, okay? And you need to do what you love. What you love, you know, something that doesn't cost you to do every day, you know, something that you enjoy to do. It doesn't matter what anyone else tells you. You got to do what you love. But the thing is, you have to be realistic with yourself and you have to be good at it. That's the third. You have to be realistic because just because you love doing something doesn't mean you're good at it. You know, don't waste your time just doing what you love and you're not good at. Spend your time doing what you love and what you're actually good at. You know, the right why, the love, do what you love, and be good at it. And you'll find success over and over and over again.
Wonderful, man. Milton, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure, as Les Brown would say. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
How can people get hold of you?
Follow me on Instagram at Bitcoin Changed My Life. Bitcoin.changed my life. Be careful because there's a bunch of scammers out there using my same name. And you can reach me on LinkedIn if you want to do any type of business, or email me at investormilton@bridgingnetworks.com.
Perfect. Well, listen, thank you very much. It's been, like I said, it's been a pleasure to have you as my first guest of the year. And if you're the first guest, I can't imagine how epic it's going to get next. So thank you, Milton, for your time and attention. Thank you, people of the planet. We've been on for 48 minutes. Whether you're watching this live or watching this recording, thank you very much. And look out for the next episode of Sit Down Sundays, which happened on a Monday morning. So listen, if you are seeing this Monday morning, the week is going to start off with a bang. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you for having me on.
Thanks a lot, man. Take care.
Take care.